Welcome to Everyday Asphalt, the road trip edition. My name is Jim Warren, and we're glad to have you here today. The purpose of this program is to go a little bit deeper into areas of materials, design, construction, and maintenance. All our Everyday Asphalt programs are placed on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube, type in Texas Asphalt Pavement Association or even TXAPA, you'll see our playlist right there in the front. And you can like and subscribe to that program, and then you'll be notified when we get something that's put up there, which is every month. In addition to that, this year we're putting all our programs on Spotify, so you'll get an audible version of this that you can listen to when you're driving around in your truck or your vehicle. So that's another opportunity we're trying to get out there as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Our guest today is Glen Dvorak with Hunter Industries. Welcome to Everyday Asphalt, Glen.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
Glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Glen is TXAPA's president this year, and he's also very involved with AGC. I don't know when you sleep, but we're glad to have you here. Glen, tell our audience a little bit about your background and
Sure.
how you got to where you're at.
Yeah, thanks again, Jim, for this opportunity. So I spent most of my career with TXDOT. Was an area engineer for about 10 years in the Yoakum District.
Okay.
And served as director of construction for over 10 years in the Yoakum District. And so I had 29 years total with TXDOT, and
Wow.
been with Hunter Industries for over 9 now.
Wow.
So the years are adding up.
That they are. Okay, our goal today, again, we're on the road. We're actually outside of Hunter's shop right down here in San Marcos. And our goal is to start looking at some pavements and kind of putting some eyes to the discussion that we've been having. And I know you've been really involved in this, in the whole ride deal. So Glen, why is ride important to you?
Yeah, so Jim, this started, well, probably about 25 years ago when I was an inspector on a project.
Oh, okay.
Probably even a little bit longer.
Wow.
I better do the math right. And what I learned quickly is what a paver can do and what the compaction equipment can do.
Yes, sir.
And I quickly learned if you can take out the multitask, and by that what I'm saying is a paver can do they can do you ride and a cross slope. They're
Right.
very talented machines.
Right.
But when the compaction equipment went over a variable depth mat,
It laminates it back
it did.
to where it was.
And then I felt it.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make sure that I truly understood how the paving equipment worked, and that brings in ride quality, the design for ride quality.
That makes a lot of sense, because your paver's paving from the top down, but we're trying to build from the bottom up, kind of meet there in the middle.
That is correct.
Okay.
And so
if we don't do that, then we may think we're laying it okay, but by the time we roll it and then the traffic hits it, it's not where we thought it was.
that is exactly right.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so, Jim, when you design for ride quality, what you're doing, you're taking out that multitasking
Okay.
is what you're really doing.
And I think, as we talk about in some of our classes and stuff, when we're laying asphalt, obviously the more uniform the lift is, the easier it is to get density.
Yes.
And the better off that whole lift is going to perform from one side to the other.
That is correct.
Okay,
So that was
perfect.
actually one thing that came out is the in-place air voids were more uniform.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
And
That makes
so
perfect sense.
when you do that, you're going to get longer lasting pavement.
So it starts at design. You mentioned targets,
Yes.
okay? What's a target?
Sure. So for me, it was always 30 ROI.
Okay.
When that project was being designed, my target was 30.
Okay.
Now that's an average for the entire project.
That's a good number.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is pretty slamming good.
And so that was not a 30 for each 1/10 of a mile.
Okay.
That was a 30 for the entire project.
Okay.
As an average.
Okay.
And so, Jim, what I found out is when I continuously targeted the same number, I got better at understanding how to design for ride quality.
Okay.
And what would happen is we would constantly be in the upper 30s to even some of the low 40s.
Okay.
But I was consistently at those numbers, and that's a quality ride.
That's
for
a
every
nice,
project.
yeah, all
Yes, sir.
over, all over. I don't think people really understand that.
Yeah.
You don't understand ride until it's rough.
That's correct.
When it gets smooth, you just kind of like, you just kind of relax. And sometimes if you're not on cruise control, you find yourself going a little bit faster.
So I found out it was better just to target one number.
Okay.
Than try to do a 30 and a 50 and just try to figure all this out. So I was very uniform in what I was doing.
All right, that makes sense.
To be able to set up the
that
tools.
makes sense. That makes sense. You know, since we don't really build a whole lot of new roads.
Correct.
Wish we did.
Yes.
In some cases, we still will, a few of them, but most of the stuff you're seeing is existing. So what are the top maybe 2 or 3 things that you think are the most important thing that we ought to be looking at when we're looking at these roadways?
Sure. So first of all, what we're talking about is primarily overlays.
Right.
You're right, Jim. It's not new roads. The first thing is you got to have a stable foundation to do your overlay. And so you got to go and determine the square yard of pay repair, which TXAPA has done an excellent job over the last 3 or 4 years trying to work toward getting that right number in the plans.
Okay.
Because what happens when you have to overrun an item, it's going to take away from something because they're trying to work within a budget. So establishing the pay repair is number one. The second then is going to be to set up the tools. Which type of tool do you need?
Okay.
So for what I do, it was always spot level up.
Okay.
Continuous level up.
Okay.
Spot milling.
Okay.
Or even a continuous milling, maybe profile milling.
Profile milling. Okay.
And then I think one area that people forget about is like fixed features.
Okay.
How to handle manholes and water flows.
Yeah.
How to tie in intersecting roadways. How to manage your curb and gutter. And so
not everything is an interstate.
That is right. So probably a few more than what you were asking for, but
no. I mean, that's perfect. I mean, because
part of it.
It is a set of tools.
That is correct.
And you don't use a hammer to screw in a screw. You don't use a screwdriver to nail a nail. Correct. I mean, you want to use the right thing for the right application.
Yes, sir.
So it makes sense from that perspective.
Yep.
So I like that.
And so, Jim, doing all this in design, this is probably 90% of ride quality.
But even before we get on the job.
Absolutely. It has to be by design. In the design, yes.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So we got spot level up, continuous level up. What was it?
Spot milling.
Spot milling.
Continuous milling, whether it's profile or regular.
Okay.
And then looking at your fixed features.
And dealing with the structures and stuff.
That's correct.
Very good. Very good. So what's the process? I mean, obviously, you want to do all this, but there's got to be a process that you go through.
Yeah.
So what is that process?
Okay. So this has been my process.
Okay.
This ain't in any kind of book, and you're not going to have some kind of software you can use. It's the
Glen Dvorak method.
That's right. There's going to be 2 components here, and it's going to be you're going to get the existing IRI.
Okay. So we're going to go run the roadway.
That's right. Or you have to use your seat of your pants. Okay.
Okay.
So Jim, the typical process is I'm gonna go get the existing IRI, and then I'm gonna go and find all the pavement repair.
Okay.
Because what I want to do is I want to take the pavement repair, highlight it on that existing IRI, because when I repair those areas, that actually changes the IRI on that existing profile.
Brings it down.
It will bring it down. So it also brings the overall average down.
Okay.
Because I use the overall average then to say, hey, if I do one lift of 1.5 inches or greater, I'm gonna get a 50% 50% IRI improvement.
I like the 1.5 inches or greater.
Yes.
It's hard to fix a lot with.
You can't do much with 1 inch.
Right.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes,
Gotcha.
sir.
Gotcha.
And so then from there, if I need 1 or 2 continuous lifts to get me down, say close to a 50 and a 40.
Okay.
Then I know at that point, all I got to do is go look at the localized roughness.
Okay.
So the localized roughness will be the most difficult because it's nothing easy. And we're going to go do a little ride here in a little bit.
We're going to go take a look and see.
But the overall process is to get an existing RI, go find your pay repair, match it up to your existing RI, adjust those 1/10 of a mile sections, and get you a new overall average for the roadway.
Okay.
And then from there you can apply.
So it's now I've got a realistic evaluation, and then I can evaluate it.
That's correct.
Okay. Or make a realistic assumption of when I get to the end of the job.
Yes.
What can I expect?
There you go. That's correct. So what comes into play though is the different type of surfaces. In other words, is it hot mix or is it seal coat?
Okay.
Because we all measure RI based on a hot mix surface. So you know exactly what you're getting when you see it on a profile. What you don't know is on a seal coat. So that's where you need to go ride it and just let yourself.
It's got a little different feel to it.
It's going to add a lot more texture. So for example, 120 on a seal coat is probably not a bad ride.
Okay.
But 120 on a hot mix is not very good.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So you got to kind of feel those things out, and when you do these more than once, Jim, you quickly understand the difference between the two.
And I think I think the important thing is the IRI does measure texture to a degree.
It does.
And that's one of the things I think a lot of people don't understand is the way that thing is measuring, depending on what type of sensor you're using. I think most people are still using a spot sensor. It'll definitely measure texture.
Yes, sir.
In that sense.
So Jim, if I could, let me give you an example of the one we're going to go look at.
Okay.
So I went and did the IRI.
Glenn's done some homework already.
I have. So I went and measured the IRI of the roadway we're going to go look at, a little 2-mile long project.
Okay.
And the average IRI is 136.
Okay.
So my next step was to go identify the pay repair, which I did. Took those spots and matched them up to my existing IRI. What I like to do is, some of these were like at 150, Jim, where these pay repair were your 1/10 of a mile sections.
Okay.
I just make them 50 because I feel like we're going to get it smooth when we
once you get done with your repair.
That is correct.
Okay.
And so now my new average IRI for the project is 110.
The new weighted average.
That is correct. So
okay.
From 136, adjust for pay repair, it's at 110.
Okay.
So for me, and actually the road we're going to go look at is a seal coat.
Okay.
So I wanted to make it a little more difficult for us. And so one lift is probably going to take me down, because I'm going to get more than a 50% improvement on a seal coat. I'm already probably at one lift, 1.5 or greater, of an IRI of 50.
Okay.
So now I'm really comfortable. So what we're going to go do is identify some of the localized roughness that we need to address.
Okay. That sounds great. That sounds great. I think you've touched on it already, the whole idea about the doing the surface prep, getting that done. And I know it's not the sexy part, it's not the top, we're gonna cover it up. Oh, why tack, why sweep? Hey, all that stuff's important. But we've got to I think we just got to keep preaching that message that guys is super important from a planning, from a budgeting standpoint. Thoughts?
Yeah. So Jim, when you design for ride quality and you get the tools in there, you now have the budget.
Okay.
So just think about if I needed to go add 1,000 tons of level up to fix something without it being in the budget, the area engineer and or the district's going to go,
we can't do that.
That's right. But when you have it in the budget,
at the beginning.
At the beginning.
Okay.
It actually allows you to use overrun an item and underrun an item. You can manage the items of work
as long as you don't blow the budget.
That is exactly right, because that's what's going to happen.
So you can field adapt or field adjust based on conditions that you see. Oh, hey, we need to go a little bit longer
we need
here
a little
with
more,
this.
Yep.
We need to don't do as much over here.
That's
but
correct.
Overall, within the budget that we've got to work within, we're going to get the best possible project that we can.
That is correct.
Okay,
yes.
I got it. All right, Glenn. So, what's the why we should spend the extra time and effort in this? Why can't we just go put an 1.5 inch out there?
Sure. First of all, smooth roads translates into quality.
Okay.
And that is what we're all after. And there's different ways of achieving a quality, starting with the quality of material, right?
Right.
Ride is one more aspect to get you to quality.
Okay.
Long-lasting pavements.
That works. That works.
Yes, sir.
And that benefits everybody all the way around.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So, Glenn, when we're talking about materials for these projects, what do you like? What seems to work for you?
Yeah. So, dense grader super pave, type C or type
C or D
works. Typically, I stayed away from the PG76 because this can be a lot of handwork, small areas.
That don't like handwork.
And so it usually what I had was one PG binder less than the top.
Okay.
So it'd either be a 64 or 70.
Or maybe a 70. Okay.
And those were the two type of mixes.
So nothing exotic, nothing weird. Pretty much everyday mixes.
Everyday mixes.
Gotcha. Okay. So, from a construction side, you're always trying to improve quality. Is there anything we can do on the construction side? We talked about the way the paper works. We talked about the way the rollers compact. Is there anything else that we need to be thinking about? from that perspective?
From a during
Yeah.
construction?
Yeah.
You know, Jim, the hardest thing that you're going to have in construction is how to address the localized roughness.
Okay.
And so what I'll tell people is just set up like spot level up.
Okay.
That way you have the budget.
Okay.
When you get to the construction, the inspector and the laydown superintendent need to figure out then how they're going to address.
We're going to get in the truck
roughness
together. We're going to go right. We're going to go this goes here. This goes.
Because each contractor, their product, the way they construct is a little bit different. This guy may want to use some milling to take out a spot rather than level up.
Okay.
And so to have that communication to figure out how to fix localized roughness is the toughest part of it. Okay. Because once we're through with localized roughness, now we're going to set the machine and go. And we're going to be paving a consistent,
nice uniform mat.
Yep.
Get her done.
Yes,
no
sir.
delays.
So
knock it out.
Localized roughness is the most difficult part of this.
Gotcha. So what we're going to do here in a minute is go take a ride and go look at some pavements.
That's right.
But I'd like you to at least explain what you have been doing for the last year and a bit in the districts with this kind of this as requested program. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. Kind of what started people wanting to focus on ride quality is they want to win an award.
Sure.
And so when it comes to winning an award, I mean, you address the small details.
Okay.
Because when we do a evaluation, it's the feel,
it's the look, it's the feel, and it's the little stuff that makes a difference.
And the ride.
Yeah.
And ride in appearance, yes.
And it's the little. I'm a raider too.
Yes.
To me, it's the little stuff that make. A lot of people can get a B.
Yes.
Not everybody can lay an Amex.
That is correct.
Okay. And that to me is the little stuff.
So when people were asking me, how can we win an award? Well, that just brought me back to, you got to design your ride quality.
So it's a team effort.
It's a team effort. So we've been doing these IRI workshops. Chuck is kind enough to go along with me. And if anybody wants one, just see Chuck.
Okay.
But what we focus on, it's going to be about 3 hours, Jim.
Okay.
And at least 2 hours is on design.
All right.
Because we always ask the first question, what is your target IRI? And so far, every district has said, we don't have one.
Wow.
And that's what it starts with.
Okay. You got to start the conversation.
That is correct.
Gotcha.
And so if they want a IRI workshop, we'd be glad to come to their district. We invite designers, construction, and we want the consultants to be there as well.
Good.
Because they are.
Everybody's part of it.
Everybody is part of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal.
They can easily see Chuck Fuller, and we'll get one scheduled and come see them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. 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 All right. You ready to go look at some rides?
Yeah. Let's go.
All right. Let's go do it. All right. Here we go.
Go out left.
Left. So we officially turned 500,000 miles today on the old truck.
Oh my gosh.
It was it's been kind of a thing I've been trying to figure out if I would want to do it or not, but you know, when I got it's 20 years old this year and 500,000 miles, so just I got 500,000 and 17 miles on it today coming down here. So
that is pretty cool.
She's been through a lot.
Same engine?
Same engine, yeah. I've done a lot of, it's had a lot of repairs, but I haven't cracked the engine. So
okay, so Jim, we got to set our odometer to 0.
Right.
And we've had our existing RI profile run. So now the next step we want to do is identify our pavement repair areas.
Okay. All right, so we're zeroed out and we're up to speed.
Up to speed,
okay.
Yes. And what we're looking for is the areas that we want to repair, and we're going to then compare this to our existing RI, because what happens with pavement repair, you actually correct the RI value in each one of those 1/10 of a miles.
Okay, so we're identifying those right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Fortunately, we hadn't come to any yet, but we're going to get to some, I believe.
Okay.
So, Jim, what happens when I do the pavement repair, if it's like on this particular road, they were like
there's a little bit of something right in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I do is when I on the RI printout for each 1/10 of a mile, I'll just correct all those to 50 once I know that we're going to do pavement repair.
All right.
So I think right there's a spot. What's your odometer say?
It's about 0.9.
Okay.
In that range.
That was a short one.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's keep riding here and see what we can find.
A little bit of something.
Yeah, we just went from a seal coat to a hot mix surface.
Yep. Pretty decent through here.
Yeah, it really is. That's why I think we can get away with one lift. Here's some spots right here, Jim.
Yeah.
So what's your odometer say?
About 1.1, 1.2, right in this range.
Yep, and it's continuous.
Yep.
We hadn't got out of pavement repair yet, so
it's about
what you got right there?
About 1.3 or so.
Okay.
Right in that range.
And here's another spot in the south side wheel
path.
path.
About 1.4, 1.5 in that range.
Okay.
Yeah, we look quite a bit in that area.
Yeah,
we need to fix.
Yeah, so we have quite a bit to fix in that area, right?
Yep.
So now we're out of it. Everything seems to be stable.
Yep. A little bit of there, right there, 1.8.
I think it was one little spot, yes.
And we've got, that little spot there. Got that one written down. And that one, 1.9. Flattens out a little bit in that area.
Yeah, so that outside lane actually has quite a bit in that one section there.
Yeah.
We're looking pretty good so
pretty
far.
Good. A little bit of something right in there. Around 2.
Right there's one spot, Jim.
Around 2.
What is that, 2? Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, so...
And then we're coming out of it, and this is the edge of it right here. Good deal. And then we will turn back around and run another lane.
Yeah.
All right. All right, here we are on the inside lane, pavement repair, and we do the same thing again, right?
We do. We first thing is always set your odometer to zero, and that needs to match where the profile was run, so you can compare.
Got it.
And know the location. So once again, we're starting off on a seal coat surface.
Yep. Back up the speed.
Yep.
And it is definitely rougher, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
You feel it more.
You get more texture.
There's something. Yep.
Yep. So we're going to scoot away from our entrance ramp here, but we'll get back over in a minute. Pavement still looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, you know, pavement repair is one that you can stare at the pavement and get it figured out. But when it comes to then when we do localized roughness,
that'll be next.
Which will be next. You can't stare at the pavement because you're going to make yourself feel a spot.
It visually messes with you.
It does.
Okay,
yes.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back in the lane.
Back in the lane, still looking for some repair areas.
Yep.
And I think we'll see right up here, Jim. What's your odometer say? There's
1.4, 1.5 in that range.
Okay. Perfect. Got it written down.
Okay.
That's why you do it with 2 people.
Yeah, there's no way you could do this with one and maintain sanity.
Right. Yeah. There's a spot right here, Jim. What is it?
1.7, 1.8.
Okay, one more. What you got? 1.9.
Yep.
Okay, so we got
and
those
that kind of
written down.
matches a little bit on the other side.
It does. Yeah.
That's a little. Yeah. There's a good spot there. That's around 2.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be for maybe some localized roughness there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just kind of flattens out again.
Yeah, you see the discoloration in the pavement almost makes it look like a pavement repair, but you got to look at it.
And then there's that spot was the same all the way across.
It was.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So we're looking pretty good here, and there's a spot right here.
Right there. It's 2.2, 2.1.
Okay.
2.1, 2.2. Okay,
right there.
And there's another one right in there, 2.3.
Yep.
4. Okay, and we're running out.
Running out. And so we're going to calculate a quantity for this inside lane and come up with a total.
Right. Okay, awesome. Very good. All right, let's turn around and go get the other side. All right, here we are. Now we're doing localized roughness. Right, so we're going to go start in the outside lane like we did before, right?
We're going to start, outside lane.
And we're going to get up to speed. And
odometer.
Zero the odometer.
Yes.
And now we're looking for localized roughness. So what are you looking at? How do you identify magnitude of roughness.
So what I do, Jim, is I just categorize it as mild, discernible, and severe, and that's all by what you feel.
Okay.
Because I know mild is going to be taken out by one lift of hot mix,
right?
And then I just need to evaluate discernible and severe. So what we're going to do, we're going to jot them down as we find them.
Okay.
So there was a mild spot right there, but I'm okay with that one lift.
Okay.
And so once again, don't look at the road, just drive forward, and when you feel it, when you feel it, we'll look at the odometer.
Okay.
And what we're doing, Jim, we're keeping a record of what we're identifying. That way, you can even share it with the inspector and superintendent as they build the job to say, hey, this is where I found it.
This is what we saw.
Yeah.
You need to work on these areas.
That's correct.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So we got a pretty smooth pavement through this seal coat. We're going to come to a little hot mix, and we're going to get into some areas.
And we're not double dipping here. If there's a pavement repair, we're not going to measure that one twice.
That is correct. Now they're going to be close in some areas, so we may be saying the same numbers, but yeah, that is correct. Jim, right there, what number? What you got?
That's a 1-4.
Okay.
And this is some of that stuff we've written before that's going to be repaired.
Right there was one. Jim, what's your number?
6.
So here's a lot of the repair area right here. Okay, but we got a severe spot over this culvert. What number is it?
1-8.
Okay, that's a severe one.
Okay.
You got one spot right there. What was it?
That's about at 1-9.
Yeah, it was a small, but we're gonna write it down.
Yeah.
Now the beginning and end of those bridge really needs help.
All right. That's a 2-1, 2-2, right in that range in there.
Yeah, and so Jim, as we're writing these down, I just take 165 pounds.
Okay.
As to calculate a quantity. I just do a 12-foot width.
Okay.
And that way you can establish the quantity. It's maybe not the perfect method, but at least it gets the quantity in there so you have it in your budget.
Got it. Got it. Looks like we're coming to the end here.
Right there's a spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got that number down. Okay.
And so, yeah.
All right. So there's pretty much it there. And rolling out, and then we will come back and do the inside lane, and then we will be done and do the math.
Jim, let's set our trip meter to 0, and we're going to concentrate on localized roughness.
Let this car get behind me so I can get that low lane. 0, 0. And we're looking for localized roughness in the outside lane. So we've done the inside lanes for level up. There's something there that's about 0.1.
Yeah, see, that was pretty mild.
Okay.
So let's just, I think that'll come out with the surface course.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're doing at least 1.5 inches.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of in that transition area.
Yeah, this area
we've already counted for this.
That's correct.
Okay. And all right.
We have a couple areas of pavement repair we'll make sure we take out of this, but
overall not bad.
Right. Once again, we don't want to look at the road.
Right.
You want to write down one of those as discernible?
Yeah.
That's
1.
Yep.
1.0. There's 1.1. There's some.
Ooh.
Definitely something there. That's 1.2.
1.3.
Yeah. Definitely, that's 1.5 and 1.6, as we talked about earlier. It's the same in both lanes.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Where you got there, Jim?
1.9.
Okay.
2.20.
Yeah, that was our perfect.
Yeah. And then that was the spot there. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So Jim, that would be the end of what I do
Okay.
for ride quality during design.
Okay.
So what I've done is I calculated 290 tons of spot level up for that outside lane,
Okay.
and I had 260 tons for that inside lane.
Okay.
So that's 550.
Okay.
And you asked me earlier, do I add 10%? But I don't add 10%, but
You
I
just leave it as is.
always want to make sure it's like an even 25 ton.
Okay.
So that adds up to 550 tons is
Okay.
how many tons of spot level up I would set up for that project.
Okay. Pretty
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
Pretty
And so,
simple.
So Jim, there was a couple of areas where the undulations were kind of mild.
Mm-hmm.
They actually could just take a milling machine and touch those up
It just
in lieu of doing spot level up, but
Right.
that's where the superintendent and the inspector have to be on the same page, and they're still working toward the overall goal, which is to get a more uniform thickness as we're paving.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, let's kind of wrap this up. It's been an interesting day, and we've had some camera issues, some audio issues, and it's kind of the way it is when you do this stuff. It's a little different than being in the studio. So Glenn, what's the hardest part of your job?
I would say, because I care about ride quality so much, is not having enough time to teach it.
To get everywhere.
To get everywhere I want to get, because I think it's such an important aspect when you talk quality.
Okay.
Typically when we talk quality, we always talk about quality materials, quality paving,
Mm-hmm.
but ride is a third component of achieving a quality paving.
Gotcha. I gotcha. So obviously talking about quality, what does that mean to you?
It means everything. Longer lasting pavements. We're doing the right thing for the pavement by addressing all this.
Okay.
And as we know, we need to be good stewards
Mm-hmm.
of anything we do for the state of Texas.
Yep.
And this is one component that can help them.
All right. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. Last big question. King for a day. You get
King?
to change anything you want.
King for a day. This is a very interesting question. You know, Jim, I think the first thing we need to always look at is safety. And
Absolutely.
if there's one thing I would do is I would look at our interstate systems,
Okay.
and I would add a third lane to the median side.
Okay.
What we're finding out today is if we completely tear up the existing lanes, existing frontage roads, and build 3 lanes in each direction, new frontage roads, it's costing us $40 million a mile, and it takes 6 months to go a mile.
Wow.
And I feel like because hot mix is a very flexible material within a pavement structure, no pun intended, but it is very flexible in where you can use it. I just
Right.
think we need to look at how we can build these jobs quicker, cheaper, and we can probably build these things like at a 6 to 8 week clip, because you got to throw in some other type of criteria like bridges
Yep.
when you do these type of deals.
Okay.
But if I was king for the day, I would support TxDOT's Clear Lane initiative
Okay.
and their Road to Zero mission by adding a third lane in each direction on our interstates.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. I love it.
Yes,
I
sir.
love it. I love it. Well, that's about all the time we got today for Everyday Asphalt. I appreciate you guys joining us and participating. Just to let you know, these programs are posted on YouTube and now Spotify. And remember that this program airs on the 3rd Thursday of every month. So until next month, hope everybody take care, be safe out there, and ever forward, everybody.